Okay, I think it's online. I'm not sure who's there, but at least one person is there. So, I use a program called Error, which puts these comments inside my text document, inside their code. So then I can just go and find each of them and fix up the error. So what I'm trying to do is change the way I set up built-ins within the compiler. So I've changed the type of this, or have I? Did I change the type of that function? This is something I was doing the other night. I did. I added this extra parameter, the list of definitions, the list of PZ instructions. So, sorry, it is the definition, not a list of definitions, just a list of instructions. And so this call via foldl2 doesn't have that. So I'm actually going to write out each call separately rather than have this list and use foldl. I'm just going to check IRC before I do that. No, whoever you are, you're not saying anything on IRC. That's alright. So built-in add int and instructions for that are up here. Oops. I thought I changed window, but I didn't. Built-in add int is just the add instruction. I'm just going to copy them verbatim. Like I could probably recreate them, but anyway. So it's the add instruction, and it works on the data width fast. So there you've got 16-bit data width, 32-bit data width, 64, blah, blah, blah. And one of those, there's also a couple of special ones called pointer, and another one called fast, which is just whatever happens to be fastest on this system. So I think so far it's fixed to 32-bit. Bang map, bang call, those are threaded arguments. So, true to how dull programming streams can be, you're going to see me write some things verbatim. Or write some fairly tedious stuff here, which I thought was a good one to start with, because I don't really need to concentrate on what I'm doing to explain it at the same time. And two. Actually, I should just copy it from there. Yeah. Okay. Built-in divide int div. Yep. I'm going to move this comment that I had in this code, because this is going to go away, and I'm going to move it down here to immediately before the div, because one day I'm going to address that. Oh, yep. Just reflowing that text. Yep, and mod. if I do make a single instruction with both mod and div, then it'll leave both arguments on the stack. So the PZ machine is the abstract machine that Plasma uses is a stack-based machine, so it can return multiple arguments. Okay, that's all of those. So the next group are register int comp using the bool type. So the shift. I haven't added the shift operators at all. I wonder where they are. They weren't in that list. So I wonder if they even work. They do. I swear I've used them. Oh. We had 3 viewers for a little while there. I wonder, am I not seeing chat because I'm clicking the wrong thing? No. I don't know. I assume everything's working. No, we'll find out. Oh, that's interesting. When I switch windows, you can see it in the stream. That's right. Okay. Int comp. That's right. Did I change this one to accept the list of target instructions? Yes, I did. So I'm going to call this one with much the same thing, except this is the comparison ones. So greater than int is the signed greater than instruction, because we've only got signed numbers in Plasma for now. Easy I greater than signed PZW fast map. And let me know if the font size is too small, or if there's any other problems. So what I'll do, just copy that. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more of these. So paste 5, and I'll modify them. Lesser than, greater than or equal to, lesser than or equal to. The purpose of moving equal to and not equal, the purpose of moving these instructions into the, oh, cool. Oh, hey. Oh, you're like, thanks. I don't actually know how to say your first name, but Aethys. I'll call you Aethys. I like to call them my serious glasses. They're my reading glasses, and at the time when I got them, they were quite a bit thicker than my everyday glasses. But now my everyday glasses are thicker still. So what am I copying from? Lesser than signed. Greater than, what did I? Where am I? Yeah, so but now my everyday glasses are actually thicker. So those are really quite heavy. Sorry, did you get that in the camera? Where's the... Oh, I can't see. It's delayed, so I'm having trouble seeing... There we are. Yeah, you did see that in the camera. cool. Yeah, there's an article on my blog about my eyesight and everything that's going on there. So, or not going on, as the case may be. So, and this font size that I use, that I assume is good for streaming, is actually the one I prefer to use on this nice large monitor. It's also where half my head is obscured by the monitor, because I have to move it quite close. So, yeah. So greater than or equal to, what did I do for that? See, if I look at greater than or equal to above, I'm doing less than and then negating the result, which, yeah, totally makes sense. So yeah, so mostly I'm copying from above. Greater than, no, less than signed, BZW fast, and then add another item to that list, PZI not PZW fast. Yeah, even our booleans, well, especially our booleans, just use the fast integer type. Let's format it like that. Or like that. That's fine too. And equality is, well, that should have been obvious. Signed and unsigned are the same. So, given who my audience is, I don't need to explain signed and unsigned numbers. So I won't. Well, I guess you can hear me because you haven't said you can't. And, oh yeah, when I tested it last night, it seemed okay. Can't believe there are 4 whole people watching. Now I'm actually very aware that there are people there. I was stressed that there might not be anybody show up. Now I'm feeling a little anxious that people have actually shown up. Where's the logic there? How's Fartak coming? Do I say Fart? I don't even know how to pronounce anything from your work. You know what? If I went to IRC, I would find out whether this is working or not. One sec. No, nobody's saying anything in IRC either. Alright, I'm back. Well, they're all the integer types right now are signed. So the instructions that I'm using are the ones for signed when it comes to comparison. And I think you know better than I about 2's complement arithmetic, but I'm fairly sure all the other operators are the same. It only comes to when you actually want to find out what happened. Did I not bring back the screen? And let's just see. Yeah, I didn't. I thought I brought it back. There we are. Yeah. Gee, that's awkward. So, I wanted to capture just the window and build the desktop on the in the capturing software, but that didn't work out, so it couldn't capture the window. Yeah, so I'm fairly sure all the other operators are the same for signed and unsigned integers. and to be honest, it's not something I'm worried about in these fairly early stages. So yep, I've done all those. Next error. Call a predicate register int function 1. Okay, it's the same function as before. No, it's, yeah, as above. No, this is the unary minus operator. So, and it gets the extra argument of unary minus. There we are. So, all of my built-ins are functions, and they some of them are implemented by calling out to C, and some of them are implemented by the compiler just putting some Plasma code into your module and compiling it, and that'll probably all change later anyway. And some of them are like these. Their function call is replaced by a series of inline instructions during code generation. That's what these are. Actually, I'm just going to copy them rather than type them out. Okay, so unary minus loads the value 1 onto the stack, swaps the two stack arguments on the next line, and then subtracts them. Okay, my bit shift operators. So each of these register functions, so this is register an integer function with one operand, and register an integer function with 2 operands. They're just functions that I've created to take out some of the common work between like left shift and right shift and so on. Yeah, because otherwise I'd be repeating myself. Left shift, what are the instructions for it? Okay. Truncate the first argument from a fast integer to an 8-bit integer, and then shift left. Copies, and then change them into right shift. It's probably the same. And what are the next two? And or the Boolean operators. They won't truncate the arguments, they're just a single instruction. Okay. This is also what I like to call type-driven development, where I change some type signature and then go through all the compiler errors to fix it up. when it compiles again, then I make sure the tests still pass. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, depending on what I'm working on. Then I change something else. And or an XOR. You know what? I need to fix these too. I forgot those earlier. I'm finding it surprisingly easy to narrate what I'm doing. Yeah, and this is a test of me as much as it's a test of the technology. And I've got no idea why I feel compelled to do this. To do live coding. Well, or Plasma, really, to be honest. Yeah, there's reasons, but really there's so many, the reasons don't compare to the effort that's required, but for some reason I'm deluding myself into thinking that I ought to do it anyway, like that it will be worthwhile. So, and yeah, XOR. No, easy I XOR. Yeah, and then sometimes my brain just goes on a tangent and I forget what I was doing. So, whatever. It's not that hard to actually remember to... some of it's not that hard, and then sometimes my brain goes walkabouts while I'm trying to narrate it. But yeah, it's actually keeping me on task. You'll notice I'm not checking social media much. How many streamers do we have? 3. It's gone up and down a bit. We had a maximum of 4. That's huge. I didn't announce it on Twitter though. Perhaps I should do that. Might just go do that. Nope. Oh, what does... That's not what I wanted. I'm just while I switch windows, I've just hidden the stream. Oh, someone went away because I've gone away. I'm sorry, I've been dull. Oh. Yeah. There we are, we're back. So comparison of integers. Building in function int compare integers. What does that function refer to? Okay. Until the runtime supports loading data in any width and sign extending it. If necessary, we must do that here. So what was I thinking when I wrote this? So load -1, sign extended just in case it needs to be wider, and one's complement, not compare, one's complement. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, oh, look at that. I can tell from the syntax highlighting that I've missed some parentheses up here. Also, that should be a dot. Yeah, also by the color of that dot. So I'm going to add an extra paren and then see what it matches. So I've got one here. Go back and remove my extra one. So what instructions didn't I copy from here? I got the basic ones, int modify shift, and or x or greater than, less than, equals negation. Did I get negation? I did, I remember that. Bool, not or, did I do not? I think this is just the integer ones, yeah. I might have done bool the other evening. Oh, more comments. Yeah, my keyboard. They are cherry switches. I think they're cherry red. It's the dust keyboard something. It's one of the fairly basic ones. At the time, there were two that I got that I could reasonably get that didn't have LEDs in them and things like that I was actually willing to own. So this one is the one that still had the letters drawn on the keys, which I got because sometimes I forget where scroll lock is. But other than that, I touch type absolutely everything. And I've been very, very happy with it. I've now had it since 2012, which is probably the longest time I've used a single keyboard as well. I finished my thesis on it, and yeah, it probably saved me from RSI because I had RSI off and on with different keyboards before I got this one, and this one's been much better. I've been trying to explain the virtues of cherry switches or buckle spring switches or any of those to others, but to normal people in my life, not just programmers, and they don't quite get it. Anyway, so I think that was all what I was going to do was check for the not operator for bools and make sure I had that. I think I put it up here. Register bool binary op. Register bool unary operators is here, I think. Bool bin op. No. And or. No, here it. Not bool. Right there. So this one I didn't put into a separate function like the others because there's only a single unary operator that you could possibly do, well, apart from the identity function, that you could possibly do on a boolean. So that's written out in full rather than put into a separate function because I didn't need to reuse it. Let's take some water. Okay. So next, is there more errors in this file? There are. Okay, what's happened here, and because the error program puts the errors throughout my source file, they don't appear in the same order that they were created. Undefined symbol, that's one I'll come back to that. They don't come up in the same order, but experience with the Mercury compiler tells me that what's happened here is that we've got some type ambiguity. And when you get a little bit of type ambiguity, the Mercury compiler gives you a lot of type ambiguity. It doesn't attempt... Well, it had a go at resolving the ambiguity, but it didn't do so well. And so then it just complains about every single overloaded symbol. So experience has taught me just to delete the most of it and find the actual cause. Ambiguous overloading, the following symbols. Yeah, so that's the original error that I was just referring to, that we deleted all the other things that came up in that error with different line numbers. But that's the location where it was first reported. So what we've got here is something that I've moved, that I haven't created yet. So I wrote the call to this function without writing the definition yet. So I'm going to, because I've definitely got all of those, I might as well make that go away. I'm going to pragma obsolete built-in hopper into map. That's going to go away. 1, 2. It's got 2 input arguments. So that's how we name it, because we need to name the arity as well. Anyway, I'm going to change files to call function because I need a new type of function int boolean. Function int boolean and RTS type of boolean. More comments. Majestic. Hey, somehow I'm subscribed to your channel. All right. I'm working in the language Mercury. That's going to look strange to a lot of people. And I'm working on a compiler for a new language called Plasma that's my own project that I started a couple of years ago and keep on making fairly gradual progress on. So you can check it out at plasmalang.org. So I'm just going to put the URL into the chat comments. I should have put it in the description of the video. Plasmalang.org. Mercury. And my fears that the microphone might not have been working are adult because Athos commented on the sound of the clicky keyboard. So what arguments do I need for int function built-in RTS? I figured it needs the name. The input types, I think I've given it, yeah, I've given it everything but that list of instructions, because the runtime system is going to define it for us. And the reason I'm separating these out into different things is then within the function structure itself, which is the value that's returned by each of these, I can, whenever we manipulate that, and that's an abstract data type, whenever we manipulate that, I can have assertions if somebody tries to add a definition for a runtime system built in, or doesn't add, like, well, they can't take away the PZ built in, the inline PZ that's being set up here. There just won't be an API for that. That's what I'm referring to, that argument, the list of instructions. So, yeah, I noticed that my channel had a couple of subscriptions after not having that many views. Not having that many videos. I thought maybe people really like what I've done so far, the 2 videos that I've made public. I had aspirations to do more screencasts, but they take a lot of preparation. I may do some at some time to explain tricky concepts with compilers and things. Anyway, so that should be... remove that extra line. That should be good to go, that error. Where's the next one? No more. Did I have any other files that had errors? I don't think so. Just to make sure, before I clobber anything, I'll grep for that in source star.m. I think I need to quote it. No, nothing. Okay, I can try and compile again. And so I've got all those errors. Pragma obsolete. Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. So what I do next in my workflow is I usually run error. So it does, I find it easy, but I think it's going to create a harder to follow video or stream. So I run error on each of the error files. So when Mercury compiles, you'll notice it's said here at the bottom, I'll just move the cursor up to it. Error log truncated. See built-ins.error for the complete log. So always by default Mercury puts all your errors, rather than onto standard output, into these files. It puts the first few onto standard output. I think you can turn that off or change the limits and so on, but it's just what we've always had, and so it's what I got used to for a while. So then you use, this is a very old school Unix program that we actually wrote a new one of, and it's a really simple one, so you can just write it in C, but we wrote one in Mercury because why not? You process each of those files, and when you process them, it updates the source file and puts the errors in line. Nowadays you'd use, I think you hit F9 in Vim and it works for you, and Vim will actually show you the error locations. The only tricky thing was this, is that you want to at least remove each of those comments before you recompile again, otherwise you'll just get double ups of all of them. So let's go one file at a time and start at the top with built-ins.m. So I'm going to close this one, open, and go to the first one. And we've got, looks like that type ambiguity again. See, the possible matches are, the function symbol is also overloaded here, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. See, and it should be able to cope with this overloading, but something else has stripped it up, and so now it's just complaining about it. And that's one of the inconveniences of using that tool. The wrong number of arguments, 7, should be 5 in use of constructor in built-in RTS, because you don't need to tell it that it has no context and is private when you build a built-in. In fact, what is this anyway? Bool type. Wait, get time of day, take returns a bool. Why did I type reference. What have I done here? They've given it a bool argument. List of types, list of type, list, two lists of resources. So what I'm going to do, I want to know what this code used to be. So I'm going to use git diff because maybe I mangled it while I wasn't concentrating. Let's save before I do that. Function int, so it used to be get time of day vanilla context, and it's private. And okay, I've got it taking no inputs and returning a bool and two integers. There was a reason for that. I don't think it's the API, the what I'm going to finally end up with, but there was a reason for that that I don't remember, but we're going to go with it. And the sets of resources are the same. And those are the arguments of the new function that I'm calling. Cool. Checking if there was any comments on IRC, just in case, because I don't want to miss someone if they've asked a question. So and these wrong number of arguments, 7 should be 5. We can fix that one up too. Yeah, and all I need to do is delete those two. Okay, no more errors in that file. We've got core things open here. What was the other file that we edited? Core.functions and core.pz. I know what to do in core.pz, so let's go there. Core to pz. Fairly sure. Wait. Fairly sure I just need to make that 3. Because it looks like it's counting, the compiler's counting the output argument as well. And I couldn't remember what I needed to do there. Is that everything? Yeah. Cool. And it says you haven't defined this function. You've declared it, but not yet defined it. argument. So in unification of variable defin and the constructor, type error in argument of functor. You're in the argument PZ instructions. PZ instructions has type is a list of instructions, but is a list of instruction objects. So I wasn't sure when I defined this earlier, which was last night, whether it was which one I needed when I was doing this, because I couldn't remember what I had done earlier. Alright. You can see what's going on there. The definition of built-in and the use is spelt different. B-U-I-L. Wait, let's go back and set up an RTS built-in. So I want some of this to be the same, though actually those can be the same. Yes, I'm copying and pasting. And those. That one. Built-in, this is RTS. Oh, RTS built-in. It does not have an instructions argument. Context and sharing are fine. Looking at the definition here, I'm using C tags to navigate between things. Name, signature, context sharing, maybe function definition is something I have to define. No definition, function definition, easy. Should be no definition. I'm just going to spell it out there. And maybe built-in implementation type. So we'll give that, we'll name it because it's a little bit longer. Yes. Built-in implementation type, it's an RTS built-in. Next error. Function is built-in, function get built-in type. When I renamed that function last night and turned it into a predicate, I removed the verb get. So, and forgot to do it in the call. Is that everything? Yes, so that's all my errors gone, or done something with. Make. Why is that still not happy? Which syntax? I suspect that Mercury's actually got different syntaxes that it accepts in different contexts. Core to pz.m obsolete. Okay, that one's 2 plus 1. Nope. 3 or funk. Yeah, it just wants the name and the arity. So what's going on here? Oh, I'm a dummy. The arity is 1, because while I saw this comma and thought this was one argument here, QName, and one argument here, built-in items, I didn't pay enough attention to notice that they're all within a map. So it's only one argument, the map from QNames to built-in items. That's the problem. Let's see. How much have I broken? Yay! Quite a lot. The only tests that pass will have been the built-in tests. This is something that's crashing every time the compiler runs now. Oh, almost every time. So remove that window. Push the tests valid. Make arity test. Dead insert key already present. Left shift int built-in items. I wonder if I've forgotten to update something with all my copy pasting. Left shift int. Right shift int. There.